For over 100 years, this island appeared on maps, atlases, even in school textbooks. Generations believed it was real, but when scientists finally sailed there, all they found was endless ocean. These are the Phantom Islands, places that existed on paper, but never in reality. They fooled explorers, cartographers, and even Google Earth, and their stories reveal how easy it is for mistakes to become truth. In this video, we'll uncover 3 of the most famous Phantom Islands, one that haunted maps for 136 years, one born from a monk's legend, and one that was said to appear only once every 7 years. Each one shows how belief, myth, and human error can redraw the world. But first, how do Phantom Islands even happen? Why did people see land where there was only sea? To understand that, we need to step onto a ship centuries ago, where a sailor peers through the fog and swears he's seen something on the horizon. The open sea is full of illusions. Fog creates shapes that aren't there. Mirage bends light, turning clouds into mountains. A floating patch of seaweed might look like a coastline. And when you're weeks away from land, exhausted and desperate, your brain fills in the blanks. You don't just see land, you believe it. One sailor's sighting was enough to start the chain. He writes it in his logbook. The log becomes a report. A cartographer copies it onto a chart, perhaps with a cautious note, "Island, seen once." But the next cartographer doesn't copy the warning, only the island. And soon, what began as a shadow in the mist becomes geography. Once on a map, an island was hard to erase. Sailors relied on charts like lifelines, and no cartographer wanted to contradict another. Maps carried authority. If something was drawn, it must be true. In fact, some mapmakers even invented islands on purpose, not out of malice, but as a kind of copyright trick. A fake island proved if someone had copied your work. This is how Phantom Islands were born. Part human error, part psychology, part stubborn tradition. And some of them lived on maps for centuries. But none is stranger than the one that lasted until the age of satellites, and even appeared on Google Earth. Meet Sandy Island. Our first Phantom Island is Sandy Island, a ghost that haunted maps for over 136 years. It sat in the Coral Sea, a patch of ocean between Australia and New Caledonia. And on paper, it looked perfectly real. A long, narrow strip of land, carefully drawn and labeled. The story begins in 1876, when the whaling ship named Velocity reported an island at these coordinates. The crew logged their discovery, and cartographers added it to nautical charts. Other map makers copied it, and soon Sandy Island appeared everywhere, from British Admiralty charts to world atlases. For more than a century, Sandy Island was printed and reprinted. It appeared on globes, encyclopedias, and eventually even on Google Maps and Google Earth. Students studied it in classrooms. Sailors planned routes around it. Nobody asked the obvious question, has anyone actually been there? In 2012, a team of Australian scientists sailed straight to the spot. They expected land. Instead, nothing. Just endless waves. Depth soundings revealed not a shallow reef, not a sandbar, but deep ocean floor over 1,000 meters down. Sandy Island wasn't hidden. It wasn't submerged. It had simply never existed. The scientists reported their findings, and Google quietly erased Sandy Island from its maps. But for the cartographic world, this was shocking. An island that had lived on maps longer than anyone alive, erased in a single day. Sandy Island proves how fragile our truths can be. A single ship's mistake was copied, trusted, and taught for generations. until reality at last caught up. But Sandy Island isn't the only ghost the sea has given us. Long before satellites, legends gave birth to islands of their own. Long before Sandy Island, there was another phantom, one born not from error, but from faith. In the 6th century, Irish monk Saint Brendan was said to have sailed across the Atlantic. His voyage became legendary, stories of sea monsters, enchanted isles, and a faraway paradise beyond the horizon. By the Middle Ages, that paradise was given a home on maps, Saint Brendan's Island. Sailors claimed they glimpsed it through fog, a dark shape that vanished before they reached it. Cartographers placed it west of Africa, near the Canary Islands, and for centuries it remained there, a ghostly promise of land. St. Brendan's Island became more than a religious tale. Explorers sought it, conquistadors hoped to claim it, and kings even granted titles to rule it, all for a land that no one had ever set foot on. The legend was copied so many times, it blurred the line between belief and reality. By the 18th century, after countless failed searches, skepticism finally set in. The island slowly disappeared from maps, leaving behind only its legend. Yet for nearly 1,000 years, people believed in it. Proof of how powerfully stories can shape what we call the world. But Brendan's Island wasn't the only legend to haunt cartography. Off the coast of Ireland, there was another, said to appear only once every 7 years. Off the western coast of Ireland lies one of the strangest phantom islands of all, Hy-Brasil. For centuries, maps marked it as a neat, circular landmass. Sailors told stories of a mysterious island shrouded in mist, one that revealed itself only once every 7 years before vanishing again. In Irish legend, Hy-Brasil was a land of riches and advanced knowledge. Some said it was home to a wise king. Others imagined a utopian society hidden from the world. Fishermen swore they saw its shores in the distance, close enough to glimpse, but always out of reach. Expeditions set out to find it. Portuguese, Italian, even English sailors plotted courses for Hy-Brasil. Some returned claiming success. They preached stories of strange animals, mysterious inhabitants, and treasures beyond imagination, but none brought back proof. Every sighting dissolved like smoke. By the 19th century, most mapmakers gave up. Hy-Brasil was erased from charts, just another phantom. Yet its legend didn't die. Modern writers link it to Atlantis, others to UFO lore. It's a proof that some mysteries refuse to vanish, even when the maps are blank. Phantom islands remind us of something powerful. The world we know is not just geography. It's also imagination. A single mistake or a single story, copied and repeated, can live for centuries. On paper, a shadow becomes land. A legend becomes a destination. And sometimes, a myth becomes more real than the truth. In a way, phantom islands aren't failures. They're evidence of our hunger to believe. Sailors wanted new horizons. Monks wanted paradise. Storytellers wanted wonder. And maps, our most trusted guides, became canvases for those dreams. Erased or not, the ghosts of those islands still linger in our culture. So, which phantom island fascinates you the most? The modern mistake of Sandy Island? The monk's paradise of St. Brendan's? Or the vanishing mystery of Hy-Brasil? Tell me in the comments, and if you want more map mysteries, like lost continents or forgotten borders, let me know. And if curiosity is your compass, subscribe, because every week we'll set sail into another strange corner of our world. This is Curiosity Dude, and the map is never finished.